Yeah, it says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. There it goes. Stream is
All right, now it
live.
says live. All right. Yeah, so now it's live. Yeah, so yeah, I was just saying ask you a few questions and stuff about like what you know about like corruption within the with law enforcement and shit like that. And get your opinion on what you think because we know what we think already on the death of our cousin, but um, I think what it was when the Merced jail staff put out that calling him a confidential informant.
Yeah.
They knew what they knew they sealed his fate. They knew what was going to happen by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, they totally, for one, whether he was or wasn't, nobody would have known. There's only, you know what I mean? You have like basically handlers, you know what I mean? And you only report to certain people. So other officers wouldn't even know that you were a CI if you were a confidential informant. And for them to blast that out there like that, that was setting, putting a target on his back, especially when he went to
Yeah,
jail.
yeah.
And
I'd watched I'd watched the video that because I did mine last night, and then Renegade Media did one this morning on it, and it was a cool video. But he was like, "Well, maybe it could be from the cops putting it out there, or maybe he was bragging about it to homies or whatever that he was with this broad or whatever." But I know that in the jail systems and stuff like that, he was in a 2-man cell. So how would 3 inmates get in there with him to be able to do that?
exactly, that that whole situation, just from what I've gathered from you, because I didn't know all about it, but everything that I've read that we talked about or I've seen. I mean, for number one, exactly, you've got so many people that are involved. Number one, Merced PD, or who was it, the PD or the sheriff's department, that put out that he was a CI.
It was Merced PD.
So Merced PD put that out there. Then he gets locked up, and where's the COs at? Why would he not be in? After that was blasted out there, they would have had to put him in PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they didn't. Because he was running active. So I don't know if maybe they lured him back in, telling him everything was cleared or everything was good or what. But regardless, even if they did, how you still got to explain how he's in a 2-man cell where the other two people come from.
Exactly. You
So
got
either a tower guard had to pop the door, or if it wasn't controlled by switches, then they would have had to manually unkey it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's a lot of corruption. Is I mean, starting from Merced PD, and then the jail, the sheriff's department, their COs, because and they're all responsible. Well, especially whatever COs were working. And like you said, whoever popped the door, how the hell, if it's 2-man cell, unless, all the doors were open
Yeah.
at the time. But where's the COs? And, I don't know, how much more do you know about it? Like, how long before?
Um, we found out some more about it, but it hasn't it hasn't been put out outside of their office yet.
Because, of course, it's
The
open
office
investigation.
know some stuff about it and what happened and like details to it that hasn't been released yet. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, me, the biggest person involved in it was whoever opened that door.
Exactly. 100%. Whoever
Without,
was.
without that door opening, they would have never been able to do it.
No. Well, they could have. I mean, it's possible they could have done it, but it would have been right there in the day room. I don't know how the Merced County Jail set up. So I don't know how it's set up as far
Yeah.
as they got a day room there, but still, how long had he been in there? locked up prior to this happening?
We had just seen him a couple nights ago at the store, so maybe a day or two.
So he had just got booked in there then, and
Yeah,
he was just in there.
Yeah, he had just gone in. Nick said, "Who am I talking? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Edward Ramos from Merced. He was the inmate that was killed by 3 inmates in Merced County Jail on Sunday night." But yeah, we had seen him. I think it was around like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We went to the store and we seen him right there. Came in behind us, and then all of a sudden we heard this happened.
Yeah, so you got so many people that are responsible, and as you know, I mean, you can't stop a lot of shit that happens, but as a CO, you're responsible for any shit that goes down on. So if it's your pod that you're watching, you know what I mean, or if that's your responsibility. So any shit pops off, it's on your ass, and then it's also gonna, be on the sheriff's department's ass.
Yeah. And if it's day room, you got an officer watching, so it wouldn't be like you just found him. It would have been like, okay, you've seen the incident going on. Why didn't you put a stop to it or try to stop it or whatever? But Osito said he's from Livas. Yeah, he's from Livas. He was staying in Atwater for a while, and then here in Merced also. It's my lady's cousin. But yeah, I don't know. They said that there's an investigation going on, but everybody knows that when it comes to like the law enforcement and stuff, they try to cover their own as much as they can. Especially on a situation like this where Merced just was under scrutiny for having a murder that was covered up. And then now they're having this one that just happened after posting all that stuff to social media. So it's like
that right there that's negligence big time on the part of, like I said, the Merced police or PD, because they're, like I said, I think, I mean, I don't know, and whoever knows him knows you would know when someone's a CI, dude. They're not, I mean, it's a difficult situation, you know what I mean, for them to be able to be active and somebody just not know, you know what I mean, and not know that they're a CI. It's really hard to do that. So I'm not saying whether he was or he wasn't, but if he was, for them to blast that out there when that's the whole purpose of being confidential, a CI, it's confidential, as meaning they don't release that name ever because of it's, you know what I mean, for his safety or her safety, whoever it is, his or her safety, whoever your CI is. And that's why it's never released. Plus they don't want to blow their cover. You know what I mean? They don't want them to be able to, because then once their cover's blown. But it's funny that they put that out there after he's caught with with the female cop, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, which that had nothing to do with what she did, you know what I mean? That's an internal issue.
Yeah,
to me.
My personal opinion is, if he's fucking with her that long to where she's going over to his pad and staying nice like that, his homies had to have known that she was going around there.
100%. Yeah, they're gonna
they
know.
were cool with it until the whole raid happened and Merced PD put it out there like that. They were fine with being with her until his house got raided, and then all of a sudden they're saying that he's a CI. Why were they cool with it in the beginning then?
Yeah, it's just like I think you did a video, your other video, you talked about, inmates in prison and female COs, and they're doing things, you know what I mean? And it's the same situation when it comes to this situation where, he's sleeping with her. So he's telling it, his homies, like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking, fucking this female cop, and you know what I mean, and whatever. But the way they did it,
it could have been as simple as that, and they weren't even discussing other shit. Like, because I know a lot of people, they don't like talking about shit. Once they get home, they don't want to talk about work and stuff like that.
You have to, and this is just my experience, and I've talked about it before. If when you're working in law enforcement, and this is where you have to, like, I used to you have to decompress. Like, you have good days, bad days. You have to deal with a lot of shit some days. Other days are easy days. But like, I have kids at home and a family at home. I can't walk in that door. I walk in every day with a smile on my face, and whether if I have to put on a mask, that I'm happy, but I never bring my shit home, even though it's in my head, and I might go out to the garage later on, say after my kids go to bed, and go drink me some beers to decompress. Yeah. But you just no, you don't bring that shit home. You don't bring your work home with you. You don't talk about it. None of that.
See, I think what it was too was when Merced PD put that out there, like in the report, like typed report, it says alleged CI. So they were putting that out there, like just hoping somebody would bite on it and run with it, smutting him up, because they knew they didn't have shit on him when they busted him with the raid. So by throwing out alleged CI, they knew, like, okay, well, if we can't get him, somebody will get his ass.
You're 100% true. Because
if he was a CI, they would have never threw it out there.
No,
because of legal purposes.
Exactly. And when I saw that, because it in different other parts of that article, it says confidential informant, but there's only that one time they said alleged confidential informant.
Yeah.
Well, if he's an alleged confidential, for one, if he was a CI,
he could have been an alleged astronaut. They don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, he's alleged whatever he wants to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyone's that. And but the fact that he's, when you have a CI, you might have, like, say 3, and normally it's not, which she was just a regular patrol cop, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she wouldn't have a CI. It would be the detectives or investigators would be the ones that have the CIs. I mean, people do give you information when you work patrol, but you're not really considered a CI where you're signing papers, you're getting paid, or anything like that. And once that happens, it's in that paperwork that your information will never be ever put out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're safe. Yeah. And for her being patrol, and
it wasn't her duty to have anything like that going on anyways.
Exactly. And whoever say he was a CI, let's just throw a hypothetical that he was a CI. Where's his handlers at? You think his handlers don't know that he's fucking this cop? Yeah. You know what I mean? They would have known, because as when you have a CI, you can pretty much know everything that they're doing all the time. You know what I mean? They have to check in all the time, or you're checking in on them. You know what I mean? Whether they know it or not. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think. Pretty sure it was just like a big smut campaign that they threw out there, knowing somebody would bite on it, because they know what type of lawsuit it would be, or if they put it out there and it was true. But having nothing to get him on, because they did the raid, they didn't get him on shit. They brought him in, I think, for a little violation. He was right back out, and then all the scrutiny came down on Merced PD and the officer being caught naked in bed, and all they had was some way to try to figure out, like, some retaliation to try to get back on it, so that they didn't look like they were the loser in the whole situation.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'm looking at, and I've dealt with a lot of corruption with judges and sheriffs. A lot of corruption, other officers, and I'm telling you, I've never seen that where they throw something out there like that. I mean, that they know right then and there. I mean, by doing that, that's just it's a death sentence, especially if he's active, dude. I mean, you put that shit out there, and but that still blows me away, because however long he was sleeping with her, If he was a CI, they would have known, and they would have never put it out
They would
there.
have never put it out there if he was.
Exactly, they would have
Even
never.
after his death, they would have never put it out there.
Nope. It's like I said, it's when you're a
It's
cop.
like when you get arrested, your record gets sealed.
Exactly. Yep.
Well,
I mean, it's
Osito said, "It's not who you know, it's what. It's not who you know, not what you know." Yeah.
not what.
It could have been somebody that, who knows, he could have had issues with somebody and they didn't see eye to eye, and dude had a homie higher up that he was in contact with and ran his own little campaign. Because I've seen that a lot in prison too, where, like, say I'm on a yard and I don't like this dude, and there'll be little campaign going back and forth, and then it's whoever has the connection higher up that turns out coming out standing on it, and it could have been a situation like that. But I think it all boils down to is how Merced PD threw that jacket on him, and somebody ran with it instead of waiting to see if there was paperwork or anything to back it. They jumped the gun.
Yeah, and I'm sure whoever was the higher ups probably said, "Okay, you know what? They put a green light on him or whatever." You know what I mean? And just because whether they know or don't know, the way they threw it out there, you know what I mean? It doesn't look good. You know what I mean? And then you have to explain yourself, like, "Hey, what's this shit?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, not just that. I know if I was in there and I was to hit somebody with a couple of my boys, and we jumped the gun on it, when we get to prison, we're going to have to answer to that.
Yeah.
And then if it comes back that it was unjustified, all three of us are going to get whacked over it. And that's all for following somebody's orders higher up that might not have liked him for some reason. And he's like, "All right, just go do it."
Yeah, and it still falls back on it still falls back on the CO, though. It still falls back on the jail 100% no matter what. You know what I mean? Because your job is to keep that's your job. Although we all know that you can't have eyes 24/7, and shit happens, and COs look the other way, and they know when shit's going on, whether they're getting paid off, or you know what I mean, somebody's doing something and they turn the other way, and at that point in time that they know it's going down. And I'm sure you've experienced that before.
Oh yeah. I beat attempted murder in the prison like that, because they knew that dude was no good and he had to go. But yeah, so they do. I've seen the corruption myself, and know that guards will turn their eye and let you do what you got to do. But people got to realize too is, okay, that guard's turning his eye for his own personal reasons. So in the jail, it could have been guards turning his eye because of the fact that of the scandal that came down on the whole PD because of him being in bed with her.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with turning a blind eye because he's allowing these dudes to do it. No, best believe I'm sure that officer is probably the one that gave up who the three were.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He let them do it and then gave them up probably afterwards.
Yep, it's crazy. Did that officer, or how many COs did they have? Like I said, I'm not familiar with Merced County Jail, so I don't know like how their setup is. Is it just one CO for this pod?
Well, I know that they do their walks like every 15 minutes, and they got a key. So when they hit like the end of they're coming onto the tier or whatever, or into the block, they got to like put it to this magnetic thing where it basically like reads
Opens all the doors.
And then when they're going around, they got to hit like the different spots showing that they actually did their physical walk.
Oh yeah, the watchman. What do they call it? I think it's a watchman.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So in that much time, the question is like, how long was it before that officer did this next walk?
Exactly, because if it's every 15 minutes and it's 3-on-1, you best believe you're going to hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to hear it. whether there's yelling, but you're still going to hear the shoes, the thumping. You're going to hear all that shit.
And to be laid out that long, that when medical showed up, he was already unresponsive. He had been there for a minute.
Yeah,
they couldn't revive him.
And you know what they're going to do? They're just going to keep it. And this is, and everybody knows this. They always do this, and that's it. We can't tell you anything because it's an open investigation. They play that, and they play on that card.
Junior asked, he said, Brandon, I have a question. If an individual has a misdemeanor child abuse case, can he go GP? I don't know. It depends on who you run with and what the details of the case are. I know that if you did, they would want to see all your paperwork from that case and then decide whether or not you're going to be on the first ambulance ride out of there or if you're going to get to stay. Personally, if you got like that type of case, I don't know, what would you risk it? Would you want to take that risk that somebody's saying you're gonna have a couple of people with knives coming at you when you come out of your cell?
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't.
No.
Unless you're ready to go there and just be the first one coming out with a knife. Let's see.
Yeah, I just saw that one. I was reading it.
What happened to the homies from Livas that were in Merced County with him? Did they hit him? I don't know. They haven't said who it is that hit him yet, but we had heard about like some other details to it that we can't put out yet. But I don't know. I think it was probably whoever was closest, probably the closest ones to that cell, and owed some cleanup or something like that. Because reality, how many people right there are fighting life sentences already? And if you're going in on some little bullshit charge, the last thing you want to do is pick up a murder charge in the county.
Yeah. Now, did they has the news media, like, has the sheriff done a briefing on this situation yet, or any news media picked it up out there? Because I haven't seen anything online.
I seen it on. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. I seen it on like ABC News, and then like one for like Sonora area, and then MSN. But they're all saying the same thing, like a little 4-sentence thing. Inmate got murdered at Merced County Jail, and then with his name, but it's all like the little brief, same exact thing.
No information on.
No, just that it's under investigation.
Like the CDCR likes to put out. I like the way they put out their shit. Well, but they will put out there like, this guy was set up with this guy, and he was just basically standing there, dude's unresponsive, and the CO comes over there, who it is, you know what I mean? And they'll put out there that they found a weapon and this, whatever. They don't go into all the details, but I feel like CDCR does it. You probably know more, better than I do, but I feel like they don't ever put out. We know damn good and well, because I think the last story I did on the CDCR about a murder was probably 3 weeks ago, and you tell me in 4 weeks ago there hasn't been nothing that's happened in any of the prisons. Bullshit. I don't buy that.
Yeah,
I feel like they throw out little bones every once in a while, you know what I mean, and that's it. But for them not.
When I was in county, they'd come through a couple times a week, doing searches, checking for like missing metal, shit like that. So, like, why are officers not searching down there?
And did they say if they found any weapons? Did they?
They didn't. They didn't say. This is all that they say is Merced County, California authorities are investigating a homicide at the Merced County Jail. The sheriff's office says 26-year-old Edward Ramos was found unresponsive in his cell Sunday night. He was later pronounced dead. While authorities have not yet released more details, they are working with the district attorney's office. Charges are expected to be filed against several people believed to be involved. And that's it for all the different news stations.
Wow. So they just fed them a little bit of information, enough, or they don't want to talk about it because, and that's the way it's always been is it's an open investigation. That's all we can tell you right now. You know what I mean? And that's their way of saying, we're not going to tell you shit. Basically, they already know what happens. They don't need to, especially like in jail, prison. They already know. They got cameras. They got all that shit. They already know what happened. Yes, they got to do their investigation, but they already know what happened, who it was. But why didn't they release any of that information? Whether he was, stabbed, beat to death by, or whatever way it happened,
Yeah, I think they didn't even want to release that out because of the scandal just recently with that rape, which brings him up twice now into the news, which makes him look really bad. Like, so he's in there. Officers are supposed to do whatever to protect you. And
that's
stuff
what
like
I'm saying.
So, did he have a cellie? Was the cellie involved? That would explain one person, but how's there two more or multiple more people involved? Unless an officer basically like, oh, hurry up, do what you got to do.
Yeah, and that sounds. Yeah, I'm telling you what. That's just my opinion. My perspective on it is that CO is involved. If there's one CO, he's involved because, like you said, if it's a 2-man cell, they're locked down, and if they're not locked down, like you said, then they have a rover, they have a CO roving around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if he's not involved, then he's not competent enough to be working that position. Exactly. He should be sitting at a desk up front or doing visitation or something, but he shouldn't be controlling doors if shit like that's happening and he's not noticing.
And he's not noticing nothing, not hearing, not seeing or hearing nothing. And I don't know how that's set up in there, but with the cameras and all the shit they got, and that there's just no way. It's like, again, just my opinion that it wasn't some type of setup. Now, I'm not saying that these guys might not have been part of his clique and were going after him over that whole CI thing or whatever, for whatever reason. Maybe it was something else. Who knows? We're never going to know, now, unless somebody speaks on it. But the bottom line is them not protecting. That's their job. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be there because, it's a rough job and you have to deal with a lot of people and, a lot of violent people. But that's what you signed up for. You signed up for that shit.
Yeah.
And if you can't do your job, then you need to go.
Yeah.
And 100% believe. I mean, that CO is whoever was on watch is 100% accountable for that. And now the sheriff's department, the whole sheriff's department is liable for that.
So something like that, when something like that happens, is there anything like say the mother and father can do? Can they file like wrongful death suit or anything like that?
Yeah, they need to file a wrongful or get with an attorney. They definitely need to file a lawsuit against and get all the evidence. They want to get all the information.
The sheriff's department, and then file a separate one separately against that officer.
Yeah, they could. I mean, it depends on the attorney, but yeah, they're gonna in that civil lawsuit. They're gonna go after. They could go after the CO and the sheriff's department. And the CO will have to, if he's civilly sued, he'll have to pay. And then also the sheriff's department's going to have to pay because it's their jail. They employed him. You know what I mean? Dereliction of duty. He was dereliction of his his job.
Okay. Nick said, who won? I mean, yeah. Well, in the end, nobody wins, because that's just more that the sheriff's department is going to be fucking watched now, and
Merced PD for putting that shit out there.
yeah.
They put his life in danger right then and there, whether it happened in the street or it happened in jail. By putting his name out there like that, he was at that point a target.
Yeah.
Somebody just said, I have some 411 about this.
I see it. Let's see. Who is that? You said, I have some 411 about this. What 411 about this do you have that you can share or want to share?
Yeah, if you got some info. That's a good thing, and it's a good thing and a bad thing about YouTube, because anybody and their brother can put just whatever. They don't have to put their face out there or whatever, but they can give information. Now, whether it's true or not true, I mean, it's kind of a good thing, because what's that?
I said whether it's true or not is really, it depends on who's watching it and what they want to decide. So you said he was on freeze for the CI stuff, and his security blankets got on him for becoming aggressive. Okay. You said, can you give my nephew Dixon Mayes a birthday shout out? He turns 18 today. Happy birthday, Dixon Mayes. I'll leave that one up there for a while.
Yeah. Also, you said
we had heard that he was on freeze or whatever, but then we heard some other stuff too, like that they possibly cleared him. And my own personal experience is, I know once we put somebody on freeze being a skinhead, once you're on freeze, it's a wrap. That's pretty much giving you your warning, like, hey, try to make your escape while you can, because you know what's coming next.
Yeah.
But rarely, once you get put on freeze, rarely do you get cleared after that, because there's so much going on in the circle right there that everybody's throwing in information from different directions. And at that point, it's basically like, who do you know higher up than the people you're having to argue your case to? And if you don't know somebody higher up than who you're arguing your case to, you're pretty much through. You said he was being afforded his due process as an ordeño, but chose to become a security risk. Okay, so basically what they're saying is, like, he was being given his due process over it, but maybe he was feeling like something right wasn't going on about it. And he became hostile towards them or showed aggression at a time when, like, you're pretty much pushed to the side and watching from the outside and just sitting there waiting to find out what's going to be going on at that point.
So they're saying he's got aggressive because of that reason to the household. He said towards the household. So
towards the household. So maybe he felt like, okay, at this point, like, because when you're on free, if you're on freeze and you're sitting to the side, you already got your guard up, because any second that somebody's going to move on you.
They can get on you. Exactly.
Yeah. So at that point, I'd be hostile too, especially if shit's taking longer to clear than what I feel like it should, or or I feel like they're not taking it serious enough, or it could be all sorts of things. Like, what I'm getting is, even if you're on a freeze and everything, you're giving your due process, there at some point, something like that, you should be somebody producing some sort of document showing like, okay, this was being done or not being done or something, not just going off of a cop's law enforcement's word. Because at what point in the game did convicts start going with what the cops are saying? The officer could smut anybody up anytime. It doesn't mean that.
They can smut you up anytime. Yeah, exactly. Whether it's true or it's not true. If they got a beef on you, against you, or before you got away with something, or they just got a freaking hard on for you, man, they can smut your name up real quick. And that's a tactic that when I was an investigator, I used to use. Like, I'm going to put you out there on blast, or you're going to tell me what I need to know. You know what I mean? Type thing.
You said when you were being blanketed, you can't ask questions, have access to certain items, and basically have to just sit there while two homies who are strapped up guard you. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is with all the groups, but I don't know. I don't see why, if you know that you're in that position and you're under question like that, I don't see why anybody would go and put themselves into that position knowing that could happen, especially unless it's like what I was saying before. He knew he wasn't a CI with them. He knew that they threw that out there because they were mad with the raid. And he felt like, what do I got to worry about? Like, none of this shit's true, and goes in there running active still because he knows that what the truth is, and that he wasn't giving up no information to that bitch. So that's the only way I could see him going in there, is him being like, okay, I'm on freeze, but I didn't do nothing wrong. I wasn't giving up no information. There's no paperwork backing that. Why should I have to lock it up or go PC when I haven't done shit wrong?
And it all comes back to different opinions of different, you know what I mean, of the hierarchy of different people. You know, everybody might be cool with it, and one dude's not cool with it. You know what I mean?
If he's got the higher voice, then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it happens a lot of times out here.
And I don't, you know, and with the being county, I know county jails.
You said rest in peace to the young Nathaniel who was killed. There was no paperwork on him, just assumptions and rumors. Exactly.
100%.
Those assumptions and rumors were put out there by Merced PD because they couldn't do nothing when they caught her in bed when they did the raid of his house. And they were pissed off because, one, they couldn't get him what they wanted to during the raid. And then on top of that, they catch one of their own in bed with him naked. So now that just doubled up worse on them. And their little last straw in the whole game was to try to throw that out there, knowing, okay, well, if we can't get him on what we raided the house for, and now we got one of our own officers in there, we'll just throw this out there and we'll let somebody else deal with the problem now on.
And that's the thing, like if he was working, say, or whatever, and she's a cop, don't you think she would have had some kind of heads up yeah, she would have known something was up. You know what I mean? Even though she wasn't working, she would have already known, like, hey, they're watching him, and you know what I mean, this, that, and the other.
Exactly.
They would have known.
One of the cops would have called her like, hey, hurry up and get out of there because we're coming.
Yeah.
And none of that went on. It was all speculation.
And it only takes one person, like, say on the law enforcement side, to be butthurt maybe he likes her, maybe he wanted to be with her, or maybe he doesn't like, you know, your cousin and or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And so he makes up this, you know, bunch of bullshit and gets pissed about it, you know, and I've seen it happen myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad how people will go off a cop's word like that. Because anybody that's been arrested or in and out of the system knows that a cop saying twist up your words. They're then do whatever's in the best interest of them and their office. And majority of the time when you get arrested, if you sit and read your reports, you'll catch a bunch of lies in there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Somebody to just like take that cop's word as gold or whatever. That person then eventually have to answer to it, especially with no paperwork. Like the other person said, like when he leaves prison, he'll have to answer to that order that he put out.
And here's the one thing,
paperwork to back it, he's gonna end up in the same position, and the three that were his hitters, so they'd end up in the same position too. So they made one bad call, taking him out, and now there's going to be 4 more taken out when they hit the pin, most likely.
Yeah. And the thing is like, this is what I still, it baffles me. It fucking blows me my mind here that because, okay, an officer was sleeping with a known gang member or somebody they were looking at or watching or whatever. Like I said, the raids don't just come up out of the blue. You know that we don't just say one day, oh, hey, let's go raid this person. You know what I mean? No, it doesn't work that way. You got to get a warrant. It's a set. You plan it. It goes on. But to me, just my own experience, that's an internal thing. So her sleeping with him, that's an internal thing within the department. It does not have to be let out to the public or, you know what I mean? None of that.
Yeah, no, the only reason they did that is because they had nothing on. Like I said, they raided. They weren't able to get what they wanted. And then they caught her there. And
which they didn't have to say.
Yeah. And then
they did.
They threw 10 on it, trying to throw out accusations without any proof or any paperwork. Because I've heard cops say that too. Like, fuck it, if we can't get him, we'll let the streets handle it.
Yep. So. Yep. That's the way it goes, man. And that's the part that when you work in law enforcement, and everybody knows this, and anyone that talks and anybody that ever asked me for advice, I've always told them, I was like, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. Like if it has to do with anything, you know, charges, criminal, anything, I was like, don't say a fucking word. Don't talk. Don't say a fucking word.
Remain silent.
Yep. I said, because
that's the advice they're giving you. Take it.
Yeah. Because
if you don't say nothing, they can't use your statements against you.
Exactly. And they can't make shit up from what you said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they'll take anything you said and they'll flip it and they'll make it bigger and bigger and said. So yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, whatever you do, invoke your Fifth Amendment and do not speak. Say, I want to talk to an attorney, because as soon as you say that, they get pissed because they can't ask you no more questions. They can't talk to you. They can't do shit. And that's the best advice I could give anybody is if don't say a word. I don't care if you're innocent, you're not innocent. Don't say a word. It's going to make things 100% better. If you don't speak,
no matter what you say, it's not going to help you anyways.
No, and
come on, tell us what's going on. We can work with you.
Yeah,
they can't.
And that shit. And that shit. Oh, I was just gonna say, and exactly. They thought so. When you're a cop or you're in law enforcement, and you say, "Oh well, I can." Like, look, if you work with us and you know, and tell us who you got this from or what, blah, blah, who, or this person, and doesn't matter. we have no control over it. Once we file the report, whatever report it is, when you get arrested, it gets sent to the DA. The
Yeah.
DA is the one that does it. We don't have no say so in it.
Yeah.
We can't say, oh, we're gonna reduce your sentence, or you're not gonna go to jail, or not. None of that shit. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they're just playing you.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, so everybody that tapped in, he's got his own channel here on YouTube. It's the Probation Officer's Perspective. He'd be talking about law enforcement stuff, corruption. I know if you throw comments out there, he'll answer them. So I threw some out there when I first went to his channel, and he answered them. And are you still doing the shirt giveaway right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a live tomorrow night. So tap into my channel. I'll be doing a live probably about, we'll just say 8:00. 8:00 tomorrow night. And then I'm gonna do 2 a week. So every Saturday night and every Wednesday night. And we'll do this giveaway.
He's giving away t-shirts. Are you giving away the hats too, or just the t-shirts?
I'm doing the shirts right now, and then I'm gonna do like special thing where I'll do the hat and the shirt, or the hat. And I just got remember I was talking about the hats?
Yeah.
That I just got done. Well, I got them. They came yesterday. I was so pissed because they are like super short and they're curved bills.
Oh, they're not the flat bill?
They're not flat bill and high top. And I was like, and this guy's does work for me. They do great work, but wrong hats, man. I was pissed. So now he's trying to figure it out. But anyways, I still got a lot of hats to give away and a lot of shirts to give away. And, and like you said, Brandon, I'm always there. I always I'm very quick, try to help, answer people's questions. My info's on my description. If you need any help, or no matter what it is, if it's mental health, if it's addiction, or it's any kind of advice that I could help you with, I'm always there to help people. And I said on my other video, I don't know if you caught, I did a video about a story that happened 40 years ago. And it was when I was a teenager. It was under the house. This guy buried under the house for 14 years. But anyways, I talked at the beginning about how us smaller YouTube content creator channels are like a family. We're like a family, and we try to help each other out and support each other. And we're not like these big channels that they run out of their stories to tell. So then they have to talk shit and beef with each other. To get the views and ride somebody else's coattails. We don't do that. We're here to help people out, and that's it. And we're just like a family. And I like that part of it.
Yeah. All right. So are you gonna do a live tonight?
No, tomorrow night. I'm gonna do one tomorrow night. Yep.
All right. I'll tap into it. Hey, thanks for taking the time to be able to go on with me. We'll have to do it again sometime. I got a few things I got to do. I know we were thinking about going down to the jail and possibly lighting some candles down there for him.
100%. Let me know. And if you need anything else from me, you got my number. So hit me up.
Right. Thank you.
Salute. Peace out.